So hello everyone, my name is Alex. Although I'm presenting this talk here, Radu, you have to give credit where credit is due, so Radu did the actual heavy lifting for this as well. So one reason why we like to come to these conferences is that many of our ideas and inspiration come from the talks that we're having on the hallway or after some talks. And this one actually came at one of these conferences last year when someone stopped at our booth and told us it is a person that it is using data for the documentation. And he told us how he is publishing all of his deliverables in PDF, and afterwards he's giving these PDF to some persons that read them, and they make sure that they comply with some standards. And back then I was really excited with the AI, and every challenge that I faced, my first impulse was, can I do that with AI? I've got a bit wiser since then, but So back then, my first response was, I think we can do that with AI, you know. And my interlocutor looked at me with skepticism. One of my colleagues laughed. That was a bit difficult, but Radu looked at me and said, Alex, I think that might work. And I got excited and I say, Radu, I will create a plugin for the DataOT to do that. But like Justina said, afterwards life happened, so I didn't. But eventually Radu lost his patience and had a hold my beer moment, and he created this plugin. So thank you again for that. So apparently you need to comply with standards. This is required for market access, and many countries, for example, have required this. This is an international electrotechnical commission 60335 compliance, or an equivalent for certification and legal sale. And there's an ongoing quality control and documentation. So technical documentation, safety reports need to be kept up to date. And these standards also have some national adaptation that I found afterwards, so localized versions. And on the technical documentation point of view, what does it mean to be compliant with this standard? It means that you must have a documentation that proves that your product meets the safety requirements, and apparently is essential for certification, audits, and regulatory approvals. So to give you an example, if my company produces a fridge and it needs to be compliant with this standard, then in the docs you must have a section for general product information with a name and model number, intended use, is it domestical or commercial. On the electric and mechanical design side, you should have an electric wiring layout. On the risk assessments and safety analysis, protective measure, you must identify various risks related to electric shocks and whatnot. So lots of things to be present in the documentation, and someone needs to make sure that it's actually there. And it's not just the standards compliance. I found that there's a Swedish variant for this standard as well that I've talked about, but also there's a lot of guidance for industry. So I found articles that talk about how you should write to respect the Food and Drug Administration guidance, which have a lot of resources on how to create instructions for use, or there's an enforcement policy for clinical electronic thermometers, and a lot of such guidance, less or more mandatory, I imagine. But in these kind of documents, this one over here, it's about how to instructions for use. And there are some preparations instructions, and they tell you what you need to administrate the dose, like a bowl and a spoon for mixing, and you need to specify how long can it stay outside of a refrigerator, and advise you to check the expiry rate on the product's label, and many other such details that an AI can comprehend and verify in the documentation if they are present or not. So, for example, I've created such a fictional topic about the product called Insulin Pro, and let's see here at the end. So this is the bad way to write it. It says after use, throw the syringe in the trash, and it just says avoid extreme temperatures and keep it in a safe place, like a vault or something, probably. And after I created an AI prompt I gave all those instructions from the FDA and asked the AI to create the prompt. Actually, in the OpenAI playground, also in one Anthropic workbench, there is a little magic wand there, and they can help you create the prompts if you have no experience with that. And in this, so I ran this prompt in Radu's plugin on the previously presented topic, and it got, I don't know if I didn't check in detail, but this makes sense. So the preparation instruction do not specify time requirements for temperature adjustment. Also suggests a fix, so the assembly instructions are incomplete. The administration instruction lacks specific guidance on injection sites. So it doesn't say if the injection should be done in your hand or in your leg. Or the storage instructions are vague and lack necessary details, like I've mentioned. And also the disposal section lacks specific disposal instructions for syringes. So it's quite promising. Talking about standards, actually these standards you have to buy them, so let's imagine that what you see here is something that was generated with ChatGPT. So it says something like dimension for the space to be provided, and maybe the maximum inlet water pressure in pascals, the minimum pressure, so stuff like that. And sometimes these kind of details come in the documentation as images. For example, here we have some dimensions for a fridge, but since AI is able to read and understand images, it's a great fit. So in this case, I gave ChatGPT this image, and it was able to tell me the width, the height, and the depth from the first try. This is a more complex image, but still, from the first try, he was able to tell me that the pressure, the flow should be 10 liters per minute. The water pressure, actually, it was here in this part of the image, and actually I missed that when I inspected the image. I was probably in a hurry, but still I didn't see this part, but the AI did it, obviously, and it's telling me that it should be 0.05, so it's a correct value. Also it identified the required torque, and so it's pretty good at this. So this, like Radu says, is not a final product. It's an idea. It's like an inception. I want to pass to you the ghost of an idea, like in the Christmas Carol, and maybe you can work with it, and maybe it will grow in something beautiful. Thank you.